Good afternoon, ninth graders, going to be 10th graders, and I'm going to be referring to you as 10th graders going into the scheduling process for next year. Over the next 3 days, you will be completing your schedule for next year. You will have opportunities as you go on to potentially change the schedule, but over the next 3 days, we want you to have your questions answered. We want you to have a better idea of the classes that you may want to take. So let's get started. Always reminding you about graduation requirements. You need to have 4 Englishes, 4 social studies, at least 3 science and 3 math, and then 1 additional math or science. That doesn't mean that that's all you should take. If you are very interested in math, very interested in science, you could take many more as electives. And you probably should, especially if you're going to college, making sure you have at least 4 sciences, 4 maths, and continue taking some electives in those fields. Phys Ed, you will have to have 1.5 credits. So this year you'll be taking your scheduling PE 10. You need 1 credit in health, though you won't be taking a health class next year unless, of course, you fail Health 9. You will be taking driver's ed, so you're going to make sure that you will schedule driver's ed, and that'll be one of your choices. And then again, you were going to need to finish that off with some required electives. That gives you 27 credits when you graduate, and again, you will actually be taking 32 credits while you're at Conrad Weiser. So how do we follow all this? Well, one of these sheets are in your counselor's folder. You have what's called a CUME folder. And in it is this course planning sheet, and the counselor has already your classes from grade 9, and then they'll start working with you as they meet with you regarding your grade 10 classes. So you'll have already scheduled before you met the counselor, and that's where maybe they'll say, well, this doesn't make sense if you're interested in going into this field, or are you sure that's the correct track you're on? So they'll go over all those things with you, but you still will need to, it's extremely helpful for everyone if you get your 8 credits in. So, some graduation requirements that you may or may not know about. Those career assignments that you've been doing in each class, that's part of what's called Act 339. You need to have at least 8 of those career assignments in your Schoology folder to graduate. So please make sure if you do one of those career assignments and the teacher says, okay, do your reflection or however else they're concluding it, that goes into the folder in Schoology. If you ignore doing that and then we get to your senior year and the state looks at it and you've got 3 or 4 even though you've done 20, then that's going to create an issue. So you need to make sure that you get those career portfolio assignments into Schoology. We also have now what's called Act 158 that started with this year's senior class, and this is another act by the state of Pennsylvania, and it is a graduation requirement. You need to have a graduation pathway. Now I'll be creating a video to best explain it. You'll get that in an advisory next week, and we'll do something similar that we're going to do today in terms of getting questions and answered. But there are a number of pathways, and it starts with keystones, your keystone scores. And if your keystone scores are not good enough, they look at different pathways, like do you go to career tech or do you have an IEP? If none of those happen, then there's an assortment of other things that you could possibly do to get that pathway. End story, you are going to need a pathway. We work with you individually to make sure that you have a pathway. And then you need 20 hours of community service at Conrad Weiser. Highly suggest you do not wait till your junior or senior year because you will be busy. You will have jobs. And trying to find time to do community service will get harder and harder. We also suggest you try to reach the 100-hour mark so you get to wear the silver cord at graduation, where approximately 30 to 35% of your other classmates do have those, and it just shows all the parents and all the families there the spirit of Conrad Weiser and how we help the community. So this is just a little cheat sheet, what you're going to have to schedule. You are going to need some type of English 10 class. And now this is the assumption that you passed your English 9 class, or your track is not a different track. So you would typically have an English 10 class, most of you. So whether it's honors, CP, regular, and that would probably been already recommended by your English 9 teacher. No matter which you had, whether it was ag science or earth science, you have to take a biology. The state requires that. So whether that's honors, CP, regular, please make sure you schedule biology. Now, if you want to continue on also with that ag track, we have the topics, current topics in agriculture, which is the second level course after ag science. Highly suggest you take that as an elective as well. So you would sort of double up on the sciences, but you must have the biology. US 2, so whether it's the honors, the CP, or the regular, but you have to have that social studies. Whatever math track you're on, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, you have to have your PE 10, you have to have your driver's ed. And then on top of that, you would take your 3 electives. And again, this is assuming you're not taking career tech, which changes your schedule a little bit, and we'll work with you on that with your counselors as well. So I just mentioned we would talk about math. Take a look at the 3 top layers there. You have your concepts track, your college prep track, your honors track. There's also at the bottom left a computer science track. So if you could see most likely and find the math that you took your 9th grade year up top. So typically you would just go straight down and continue to take classes in that line. However, say you were in honors geometry and really struggled. You weren't as sharp as you typically are. You may end up in that Algebra 2 CP class instead of the Algebra 2 honors. That might be the recommendation. If you're in a geometry CP and you've just blown it away and you're just an outstanding math student and super confident, your teacher says, definitely I recommended you, you may end up sliding over to the honors track. And that goes the same way from concepts to college prep or college prep to concepts. So just because you're in one track doesn't necessarily mean you're staying there for your 4 years. But typically students end up doing that. So if you go ahead and take a look, we have 2 new courses which you may not know about because they are new this year. But we'd love, especially college prep students, to eventually get to that pre-calculus college prep and calculus college prep. Now, they don't have the exact rigor of that pre-calculus honors and definitely not the rigor of the AP calculus. However, you will be exposed to the calculus curriculum, and you do get credits through Reading Area Community College or have the opportunity as you advanced through those math classes. You have at your availability the course descriptions that was sent out. One thing I just want to point out as you start scheduling, take a look at under 8153 Architectural Drawing and Design. That is actually a 2nd level course. The 1st level course was Drawing, Design, and Innovation, but you probably wouldn't know that just by its title. So underneath, as you see I put in red, sometimes it'll say prerequisite. So in this one, it would be that Drawing, Design, and Innovation class. When you schedule, you may choose a class and try to slide it over, and it will not do it. It will say at the bottom, prerequisite not met. That means you did not take the class that's necessary to be able to take that class. If you believe you have taken that class, and sometimes mistakes are made by us or sometimes it's made by Skyward, you need to let your advisor know that, and then they'll send that out to us in the office as we take questions and help you out to make sure that that is fixed, that is corrected. Going down to 8212, you can see this one says Manufacturing Systems 2. You see a 2 next to a class. Typically, it does have a prerequisite, and in this case, it was Manufacturing Systems. Also at the bottom, you'll see in blue that there's a personal project fee is required. Some classes do have a small fee, and that is for materials, so make sure you just are aware of that before scheduling a class.
There are some new electives for students heading into 10th grade. Introduction to Theater explores theatrical components, classic and modern dramas, and live performance. Students will analyze theater's cultural impact while comparing live productions to film and television. They will gain hands-on experience with acting, directing, and production roles, culminating in a student-led performance. Introduction to Theater will be listed with the English classes and will be taught by Mrs. Osman. Technology in Sports explores the intersection of technology and sports, examining how innovations enhance athlete performance, training, and fan engagement. Topics include wearable technology, AI, stadium advancements, esports, and data tracking. Discover how these cutting-edge advancements are transforming the sports industry. Visual Design and Graphic Communication explores communication technology through graphic design, web development, and digital publishing. You'll learn to create, edit, and produce professional quality designs using modern tools and techniques. From layouts to printing, this class covers everything you need to bring ideas to life through graphic and electronic media. Architectural Design introduces students to the fascinating world of architecture, exploring its principles, diverse styles, global influences, and societal significances. The course will blend a theory of hands-on activities and project-based learning. Let's begin the scheduling process. Skyward will be opened this afternoon so that you can begin to add your courses. Please remember to also schedule alternates. Write down any questions you may have and submit to your advisor. Counselors will be answering any questions you may have using Padlet. You will be back with your advisor on Wednesday. Bring in your course sheet signed by your parent or guardian. Your counselor will schedule an independent appointment with you once your scheduling sheet is signed and turned in. The window for scheduling will be closed February 24th, next Monday afternoon. You will only be able to make changes during your appointment with your counselor. The master schedule will be completed in early summer, and your finished schedule will be available in early August. As usual, your parent or guardian will have to complete the required paperwork before your schedule will be unlocked to view. Keep in mind when you schedule that we rank students using the Latin honors system, as seen on the screen. This enables you to take classes that you are interested in trying as opposed to taking classes for the sole purpose of boosting your GPA. When you begin to schedule in Skyward, you begin by clicking on Schedule on the left side of your page. On the top right, you will see the link, Request Courses for 2025-26 in Conrad Weiser High School. The link to schedule in Skyward will be posted on Schoology if you are not sure how to complete online scheduling.
Questions now. You may have a lot of questions in the next 2 days. How do you ask your questions? Submit to your advisor your question, and they'll put it on a Padlet. All the counselors and administrators will be looking at that at the same time as you are right now. We're ready and looking at it. And as questions come in, someone's going to answer immediately or get the answer for you. So you are going to get immediate feedback regarding your question. So no questions are dumb. This is your time to ask questions. This way, instead of sending a few counselors around the building to try to answer questions, we can give you immediate feedback. So that ends up our video for today. Again, tomorrow, what we are going to do is have the short video regarding how to schedule. Thanks for your time, and get ready to schedule.